So for the last 4 or 5 years, I've been in the information game, selling courses, coaching, consulting, and we've done it very, very successfully. I've done it as an affiliate as well. I've won a number of awards that you can see around me on my desk here. But one of the things that I don't like about the space is that there's a lot of people that really, really hard sell, right? To the point that they're selling stuff to people that don't need it nor want it, okay? And it's just not my style. We take an incredibly relaxed approach to sales. All the guys that work for me in terms of sales, they get that same message. We do our best to repel people. We literally tell people, don't buy this, because we don't want to work with people who aren't 100% certain that this is exactly what they want to do and they're in it for the long haul. If the investment is going to put them in a difficult position in any way, right? We just don't want to be involved in it. There's plenty of people out there who are ready to spend money, are in the right headspace, are capable of doing it, and are going to stick with it, okay? They're the people that I would recommend that you sell your products and services to. It's going to make your life a lot easier, okay? In order to do this, you need to deploy a different type of sales strategy, okay? Something that we've been refining over the last couple of years, and I've had a lot of help from my mentors on this, particularly a gent named Travis Sago. It's what I call collaborative selling, all right? It's a really simple name for where you'll sit down and have a discussion with your prospect, and you get a couple of key things on the table, and then what you do with that information, and if you do it in the right way, can generate some of the easiest 4 and 5 figure sales you will ever have in your life, okay? What I want to jump over to is a video that I've called Collaborative Selling Simplified, where I break down all the information about this approach, and then hopefully you can go and take it and implement it into your information business, be that selling courses, coaching, consulting, all that kind of good stuff. This is going to work for anything from $500 up to $24,000. We've used it for, I'm sure it'll work 50,000, 100,000, doesn't matter, right? It's a fundamental process, works really, really well, and I think you're going to get a lot out of it. All right, before we jump over to that one, be sure to subscribe to the channel, give the video a like, check out that first link in the description so you can see more information about how we build information businesses to $50,000 to $100,000 or more per month. And we're going to jump into this one. I'll see you all there. Cheers. This will work in basically any sales conversation that you might be having, be it on Messenger or be it on a call. We use it most of the time on Messenger, but I wanted you to understand the concept and really give you a framework that you can deploy because it's not a script or a tactic at heart. It's a way of thinking, right? It's a different method of selling than, this kind of hardcore closer mentality that's been developed online a little bit over the last few years, okay? So as I've said here, the goal of this collaborative selling process, and we're really simplifying it down here, is rather than hard pitching your prospects, what you're doing is you're working with them collaboratively, as the name suggests, right? And rather than, two people kind of across the table butting heads, I kind of think about this as almost you're going around to the other side of the table with them, you're putting your arm around them, and you're working together on a plan that fits them, and you accordingly get compensated for that financially, all right? So in this collaboration, what we want to do is understand what they're struggling with right now, right? We get all that on the table in a certain sequence that I'm going to talk you through in a second. We get that all on the table. Then using that information, we help them get clarity and devise a plan, okay, which is very valuable in itself. And then we offer to help them implement a solution. Okay, so it's very, very collaborative. It's the easiest way to describe it, as the name suggests, all right? Now, where this is applicable, and we've used this to sell anywhere from $500 stuff through to $24,000 stuff, it's very, very flexible. And what I really, really want to get home is this isn't about some kind of script or template. It's about a way of thinking when it comes to selling, all right? So I'm not going to give you an exact script here to use, but I want to get you thinking in the right way so that you can have this style of conversation and use this style of selling to sell your custom offers via the most profitable PDF training that we've included in here, but to sell whatever it is that you want to sell, okay? It's a different method of selling, and I really, really love it. It's super conversational, it's very chilled out, and I think you're really going to enjoy it, okay? So let's just be clear. What situations can we deploy this in, okay? So we've spoken here about what offers you can use to sell this, and it's basically limitless, right? Like 24 grand. If you can sell it, but use it, we've used it to sell 24. You can use it to sell 50, 100. It really just depends on who you're selling to and what you're selling, what you are selling them. But more specifically, if we think about conversational situations where we can deploy this, right? You've got if you think about your inbox right now, you've got existing conversations that are in flux, right? And what I mean by that is conversations that are on the go. How far progressed those conversations are, that's going to vary. Some of them might be really early on. Some of them you might be talking in a business sense about potential opportunities for working together. And some of them you might have made an offer previously, but it just didn't hit. They ghosted you, they said no, they had price objections, whatever. So they're either going to be early, middle, or at that end phase where you've made an offer, but maybe they haven't purchased. And then, like I've mentioned a couple of times in this previous training, they could also be conversations where people have bought something and you want to sell them something again, get that repeat customer base, okay? So it could be conversations that are at any part of that, spectrum, right? So you've got early convos, you've got mid convos where you might be talking about business opportunities together. You've got pitches that you've made, but not accepted. And then you've got existing customers. They could be people that bought an affiliate product. They could be people that have bought something of yours, whatever, right? That's the first one where you're going to be able to deploy this. Outside of that, conversations that won't yet be in your inbox are new inbound hand raiser conversations. So someone reaches out from your content and says, hey, I saw this. Can you tell me a little bit about this? I'm struggling with this, whatever, right? Inbound leads, pretty simple. Or you might put out a piece of content that gets someone to raise their hand and then you're going to outbound message them, right? So let's say, for example, you put a post out that talks about a particular symptom or a particular pain and you say, hey, if you want help with this, raise your hand. And then you're going to outbound message those people and say, hey, just reaching out about your comment on this post. Okay, so there's a couple of situations where you can deploy this, but that really covers, the significant majority of the conversations that you are going to have. So here's the core 5-step process when it comes to executing on this. All right, what you want to do first and foremost, and I want you doing this in your tone, your voice, very chilled out, get rid of the fear, get rid of the robotic sales bullshit. You want to understand what's the number one thing on their mind right now that they want to solve, and we want to get that on the table, okay? We want to get that on the table. If that's people that you are currently in conversation with, right, you can just ask, right? What's going on now? Where are you at with things? Just be frank and upfront and transparent, right? If they're existing customers, you can reach out and say, hey, it was awesome working with you on this thing. What's happening at the moment? Segues into the new opportunity to sell. Maybe it's a pitch you made a little while ago. Hey, just reaching back out. Appreciate the last time we spoke, the opportunity that I put forward wasn't the right fit. Just wanted to touch base and see what you've got going on at the moment. Or see how things are going. Or see how business is. Or see how you're going with blank thing that you spoke about previously. We're just trying to really get the conversation going and get on the table what it is that they're working on right now. So if they're existing conversations, just ask. Or you may already know in those existing conversations, you may already have that data. If they're a new inbound lead, this is going to be usually pretty easy because they're going to reach out about something, right? They're going to reach out and say, hey, I'm interested in some information about this. I saw your post about that. Can you help me with this? You're going to pretty clearly get an understanding of what's important to them, and that's going to help you move forward from item one. Or new outbound hand raiser conversations. If you've put out a post, so for example, on the day I'm writing this, I put out a post about how much time people spend in Facebook Messenger. And I think so far I've had 15 or so hand raisers on that post. So that tells me there's 15 people that have raised their hand on that post that I could send an outbound message to where this is front of mind right now as a problem for them. Does that mean that's the only thing? No, but it is big enough, right? And we can make it the number one thing. It's big enough that it got them to raise their hand, right? And people know when I do, lead generation posts, it's very, 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 very rarely free stuff. And I'd encourage you to position your brand in that same way. This number one thing for them is going to be saving time in Messenger. I know that's a trigger for them. I know that's a hot button for them, right? So we can have the conversation and get that on the table, right? I can, if it's an inbound that says, hey, I'm struggling with this. All right, just tell me a little bit about what are you struggling with in particular in relation to that, right? Or, hey, just reaching out about your comment on this post. Can you tell me a little bit about, how Messenger's taking up time for you? You just want to get the facts on the table about what's the big ticket thing for them right now, okay? And it's pretty easy. You just ask if you're in this situation, or most of these, it's going to be pretty clear based on them reacting to a post or them reaching out. If it's not clear, just dig a little bit more. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? What's important to you about that? What are you really looking for here? Can you tell me a little bit about more about why you're looking at that? Just so I can make sure that it's the right fit. Just ask questions. If they ghost you, if they get pissed off about you asking questions, I'm telling you, having sold millions of dollars online, you have dodged a bullet. All right, but that's our first step. From whatever conversation it is that we're dealing with, be it a new inbound hand raiser, an outbound hand raiser conversation, or one that's floating around in some kind of phase at the moment, be they a customer or not, we just want to figure out right now, where's their head at? Because if you think about it, we've usually always got kind of one big thing that we're trying to tackle, right? For me, I'm trying to complete this program, right? And then once that's done, there's going to be another big thing and another big thing. And that's what we're constantly doing in business. If we're doing it the right way, is we're always tackling new things. So if we can find out what it is that is the big thing for people, and we've actually got a solution to that, it's really going to make it easy for us to sell. Okay, so your very, very first goal when it comes to collaborative selling, and I'm trying to simplify this down as much as I can, is find out what's the big thing on their mind right now. What are they struggling with, right? And it's possible that what they think they're struggling with may not be the actual thing, right? Like if someone reached out to me and said, hey, Jacob, I'm not making as much money as I'd like. Can you help me out? In their mind, they might be thinking, oh, I need more traffic. Whereas I, know that probably isn't the problem. It's probably that their offer's not on point, right? Or maybe their sales process is crap. So you need to dig in and find out, what it is really. All right. Once that's on the table, right? Once that's clear, we want to find out what else is causing them pain and discomfort, right? And this is where we start getting into the plan element of it. So you can say, okay, that we get this on the table, right? Talk to them a little bit about it, back and forth until you're clear on exactly what it is. Okay, that makes sense. What else is, outside of that, what else is going on? What's taking up your time? What's causing you any troubles in business? Find out what else what other problems they're tackling, what other goals they're trying to achieve, and get that all out on the table. That's the first two steps. The big one, and then what else? This big one is going to become the first step of our plan. Once they've done that, we just want to help them get clarity, synthesize this information down, and turn it into a plan. All right, so once you've gone back and forth on steps 1 and 2, and they've kind of, spilled their guts a little bit and really explained to you what's on their mind right now with that big thing, and then maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 other little things, just read it, understand it, and synthesize it down and say, cool. So let me know if this is correct or not. What you're really trying to do right now is you want to fix this, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that pretty accurate, or have I missed something? If you've nailed it, they're going to come back and go, yes, that's exactly what I'm trying to do. If you've missed, they're going to go, yeah, and also looking too. Okay, cool. So you're also looking to do this on top of this. Is there anything else? Basically, the simplest way that I can explain this is you want to get all of their pain points on the table and turn that into a plan, and so that we can then go, awesome. If I was able to help you implement a plan to fix those things, would you be interested in discussing that, right? And you wouldn't say it in that kind of robotic way. You'd say it in your own tone. Awesome. Look, I really think that's something I could help you with. Would you be interested in chatting a little bit more about what that might look like, or how I might be able to help you do those things? If they say yes, you're in, right? Now's your opportunity. Perfect. If you're going to go prepare a custom offer, like we discussed in the most profitable PDF ever, awesome. Leave it with me for 2 minutes or 2 hours, depending on how long it's going to take you. I'll pull something together and I'll fire it over, and we can have a quick chat about it. How does that sound? Okay. Or if you've got an existing offer, and I'm stepping outside kind of the scope of our program here, but I want to show you that this applies to really anything. If you've got an existing offer, say, okay, look, I think the best way to do that would be I've got the details for that in a document, I've got a video, whatever. Do you mind if I send that over? So what you've done now, if we just step this out, is you've got the big thing on the table, you've got the other things on the table, you've helped them synthesize this down into a plan, and then they've given you permission to proceed with some kind of offering of support and assistance. But that's going to be perfectly tailored to what they've told you they're trying to fix. And you're saying, in order for me to help you do that, here's what I recommend. Maybe it's the custom offer, and this is why the custom offer is really powerful, because you can tailor it even more to the plan. Or if you've got something ready to go, and this is what I do with my inner circle, right? We've used this process to build up the inner circle very, very rapidly on a 5-figure investment. Look, the best way for me to help you do that is via my inner circle. I've got all the details for that in a document. Are you happy for me to send them over, and you can take a read, and we can see if that might be a fit or not, right? Because you've just helped them get real clarity on exactly what it is they're trying to achieve. And that may seem like a simple thing as we sit here talking about this theoretically, but if you think about situations where you're overwhelmed and confused, even just getting all of your thoughts and your frustrations out on the table, and then getting them kind of sequenced out in a plan, it's cathartic, it's releasing, liberating, whatever you want to say. It makes you feel better, right? So this is a really, really helpful way to sell, right? Then you can present them your offer, whatever that may be, a pre-existing one or a custom offer, and then close. Okay, that's the ideal path. All right. So like I said, I'm not going to give you an exact script. I want you to walk through this process with people in a very comfortable, relaxed, human way. What's going on? What's taking up most of your time at the moment? Oh, look, I've got my offer. It's ready to go. I'm creating content in my Facebook group, but there's like 200 people in there, so nobody's seeing it. Oh, okay, right. Well, look, recently I grew my Facebook group to 1,000 people. That's really helped spark up my my engagement. I've got a lot more people seeing my offer. It's pretty frustrating when you put content out there and nobody sees it, right? And they're gonna go, yeah. Okay, got it. What else is going on? Oh, because no one's really seeing my offer, I don't know if it's good or not. Yeah, that's a pretty common problem. It's really hard to modify and improve your offer if no one's seeing it, right? Anything else, or are they the major things that are kind of troubling you at the moment? Well, I'm spending way too much time on the content that I'm actually putting into the group. Yeah, that's a pretty common problem as well. People, until they've really got a good content plan dialed in, it can take up a lot of time. Are they the main things? And they're gonna go, yeah, that's mostly it. All right, cool. So let me make sure I'm on the same page as you here. You've got your offer kind of ready to sell and start getting feedback and data and improving, but that's not happening because you've only got 200 people in your Facebook group and your posts are getting crickets, right? And it's also taking you a lot of time to write those posts that nobody's seeing. Is that fair enough? Is that kind of where you're at? And they're gonna go, oh, actually, there was one more thing. I've really been struggling with imposter syndrome, right? My mindset's kind of all over the place on that at the moment. Okay, so in addition to the stuff I mentioned above, you're trying to work on your mindset as well and really kind of step into your own abilities and charge what you're worth and all those kind of things. Is that fair enough? Are they the main 4 for you right now? Yep, that's it. Yep, perfect. And you'll notice if they use an exclamation mark, what I've found is you've nailed it. Cool. Look, they're all pretty common problems for people, who are where you are in business. I definitely think I can help you with each of those. We've got some strategies, we've got some tactics and methods that I'd love to work with you on implementing, and I think we can knock those over. What we'd do first and foremost is we'd work on getting more people into your group so that content that you're putting time into creating is being seen by more people. Then we can plug you into our content strategies so that it really reduces the time that you're taking to prepare that content. That's going to get more people flowing into your offer. That's going to get you more feedback. You're able to tweak it up. You'll probably start selling. And I can tell you from experience, when you start selling, that's really going to help improve your mindset. Is that something you'd be interested in working together? I'm just saying this off the cuff with you guys here on this video, but you can see how collaborative it is. And it doesn't even need to be that detailed. It can be, but it doesn't need to be. Right? But you can see how in me describing that situation back and what our plan of attack would be, it perfectly fits the problems that they've just put on the table. And if you do that and you do it well, they're gonna go, yeah, I'd love to work on that together because it's going to hit the exact problems that are front of mind for them right now. Awesome. Well, look, leave it with me for a couple of hours. Let me have a little bit of a think about it. I'll pull something together and I'll drop it over to you shortly. Does that sound good? And they're gonna go, yeah. You go away, you pull together an offer, and you send it over, okay? If you nail that, you're gonna close at a really, really high rate, especially if they're people who have been in your audience for a long time, they've got an existing relationship with you, all those kind of things, all right? If you wanna listen back to that kind of dialogue I just did with myself, that'll give you a pretty good framework for how these conversations should go, right? What I wanted to also talk to you about in this simplified training is what happens if they say, look, I just can't afford that, right? If they say it's not right for them, they're probably not a good fit anyway because you've nailed the offer. Like you've just said to them, you'll help them with exactly what it is that they are struggling with. They maybe don't trust you enough yet, right? Which might just be a timing factor, and you need to go back to the well in terms of providing more value in your audience and all that kind of stuff. But for the most part, if you've got a good relationship with these people, and especially if they've reached out or raised their hand, they obviously trust you, right? They obviously trust you, otherwise they wouldn't raise their hand. So for the most part, that's not going to come up. The biggest one you're going to run into is budget. Okay. Now there is a slightly more advanced approach to this where you could add a bonus step in here between 4 and 5, where you ask them their budget, and you might ask something like, awesome, I'd love to help you with that. If we were able to knock over those 4 things together in say the next 60 days, what would that be worth to you in terms of an investment? And you can gauge their interest that way. Or you can put forward a price if you're trying to test the waters, and you can say, awesome, if we're able to knock over those 4 things for you in the next say 60 days, would $5,000 be a fair investment in order to make that happen? And you lob that out there and you can get a read on what they're thinking, because you might be thinking $5,000, they might be thinking $500. So you can either do that before, or you go away, prepare the offer, give it your best shot. You might close it, you might not. If they say it's out of their budget, what I'd recommend you do first is move to a payment plan option. You can try and, twist their arms and stuff. I don't do a lot of that anymore. It's just, I don't have the time or the energy to want to do it. We just want to fit people into the right offer at the right time. Okay. Say, look, no, I totally understand. Cash flow can be tricky. Look, if we were able to spread the payments out over, say, 3 months, would that work for you? Right. The other type of question you might want to ask there is, okay, totally understand budget can be tricky. Money aside, is there any other reasons that you wouldn't want to move ahead with this program, right? And that's just kind of eliminating all your other objections. And they might say, yeah, look, if you can spread that out over 3 months, I'm good to go. Send them the link, closed, right? If they say, no, look, sorry, even if you spread that out over 3 months, it's going to be way too tricky. Here's what I'd recommend you do is circle back to this most important thing. And rather than just jumping back to the first thing, what I'd just ask them, I'd say, look, totally understand budgets can be tricky, cash flow can be tricky. If we look at kind of what we discussed before and what I've just put forward in this document to you, out of all that stuff, what's the most important thing for you to fix right now? They'll tell you, and then tweak your offer and obviously fit it within their budget and start there, right? Say, cool. So if we were able to fix that one main thing this week, over the next 2 weeks, why don't we start there? I can do that for X. What I'll include is X, Y, Z. And then when the timing works better for you, we can look at integrating these other things as well and move forward. Okay. The short-sighted people that watch this are going to think, oh, I only made $500 instead of potential $5,000, right? That's not the way to look at it. You just acquired a customer, okay? And if you're in the business for the long term, that customer acquisition is the best thing you'll ever do, because you want to be able to sell to them over and over and over again. I have people that bought stuff from me in 2018 and are still buying stuff from me, okay? Because I give them a good experience and I teach them cool shit and they make money, all right? So just because you don't extract the $5,000 you were hoping today, you've still got a customer. Help them out, give them a good experience, help them solve that problem. And then when the timing's right, move on to the next one and the next one and the next one. And you'll be really, really surprised how frequently people buy from you. And that's how you really start to develop those true fans within your audience who will ultimately ascend up to your $10,000, $20,000 type offers. Okay, so this might be a training that you want to watch over and over again. I wanted to distill it down into one page. That's why I called it the simplified version. And I didn't want to give you a script so that you went out there and started to be really robotic with this. Rather, I wanted you to understand it as a process and as a way of thinking when you go into sales conversation. So I'd recommend that you watch this a few times, but just keep that word collaborative in mind. Your goal is to help them get all of their current pains and troubles on the table, synthesize it down, turn it into a bit of a plan, and then offer to help them execute on that plan, okay? Now, I don't need to remind you that you actually need to be able to help them execute on that plan, okay? Do not get out of your depth and sell stuff that you can't help people with, all right? I'm not gonna repeat that again. Only sell stuff that you've got a real solution to. But if you use this framework, I know that it's going to serve you very, very, very well. We've used this to very rapidly build up at the time of filming this, a $30,000 a month recurring income stream. And that will rapidly go up to 50 and beyond over the coming months. This works really, really fucking well. Okay, like scary well. It might take you a little bit of time to get used to it. You may need to give yourself a bit of room to figure it out, but keep trying it. Wear this hat, if you will, when you're having these conversations, and think, how can I get a plan on the table with this person that I'm talking to that fits their budget and is something that I can help them with. Okay, if you haven't picked up on it already, what this does is it really, really eliminates that bullshit thinking of, oh, I need more people. Nobody in my audience has money. Nobody wants to buy. They have money, okay? They have money. They have credit. You just haven't given them an offer that's tickled their fancy enough that they want to give it to you. That's as simple as that. This really helps with that because you are giving them a precise offer to the problems that are on their mind right now, okay? Really excited to see what you do with this. Combine this with the other trainings in this section and you'll be off to the races, and let us know how you go. Jump into the rest of the training. I'll talk to you all soon. Cheers.